The story begins with Ray Walker driving his rig through the vast, desolate landscape of the American Southwest. The sun is setting behind the mountains, casting an orange glow over the desert, and the road ahead is long and straight, disappearing into the horizon. Ray is on his final trip before retirement, hauling a load of construction materials to a site in New Mexico. His route takes him down Highway 666, a road notorious among truckers for its strange happenings and deadly accidents. Ray has heard the stories, vehicles disappearing without a trace, phantom hitchhikers, and ghostly apparitions that appear in the dead of night. Despite the road's ominous nickname, Ray isn't one to be swayed by superstition. He's a man of logic and reason, grounded by years of experience. But as he merges onto Highway 666, there's a sense of finality in the air, a feeling that this journey will be unlike any other. The highway is eerily quiet, with no other vehicles in sight. The desert stretches out on either side, barren and unforgiving, and the sky above is a deep, darkening blue. The only sound is the hum of the engine, and the occasional gust of wind rustling through the scrubby brush. Ray settles in for the long haul, his mind wandering as he reflects on his life, his regrets, and what the future holds after he leaves the road behind. As night falls, the atmosphere begins to change. The darkness seems to thicken, enveloping the highway in a suffocating blanket of shadow. The headlights struggle to pierce through the gloom, and the road ahead becomes harder to see, as if it's dissolving into the night. The air inside the cab grows colder, and Ray feels a chill run down his spine, though he can't pinpoint why. The first sign of trouble comes when Ray notices the time on the dashboard clock. It's frozen at 11:06 p.m., the digits flickering faintly as if struggling to move forward. The radio, which had been playing a country station, suddenly cuts out, replaced by static and faint, distorted voices that seem to whisper from another world. Ray tries to change the station, but the dial is unresponsive, leaving him in eerie silence. As Ray drives on, he begins to see strange things on the road. A shadowy figure appears in the distance, standing in the middle of the highway. Ray blinks, and the figure is gone, leaving only the empty road ahead. Then, the landscape around him starts to shift. Mountains and rocks seem to move of their own accord, the scenery blurring and twisting in unnatural ways. Ray tightens his grip on the steering wheel, trying to stay focused, but the sense of unease grows stronger with each passing mile. The hallucinations become more vivid. Ray sees phantom vehicles racing past him, their headlights blazing with an unnatural light before they disappear into the darkness. He hears the distant wail of sirens, the echo of a long-forgotten accident, and the smell of burning rubber and gasoline fills the air. The road beneath the truck feels unstable, as if it's shifting and warping under the weight of the curse. Ray's mind begins to race as he tries to make sense of what's happening. He remembers the stories he's heard from other truckers, the ones who've driven down this road and never returned, or those who came back changed, haunted by what they saw. He doesn't believe in curses, but the evidence is becoming impossible to ignore. As Ray drives deeper into the night, the supernatural events escalate. The highway seems to stretch on forever, with no end in sight, and the landscape around him grows more surreal. The moon hangs low in the sky, unnaturally large and casting a sickly pale light over the desert. The road ahead is cracked and broken, with deep fissures opening up in the asphalt, and Ray is forced to navigate carefully to avoid them. The apparitions become more aggressive. Ray sees ghostly figures standing by the side of the road, their faces twisted in anguish, their eyes empty and hollow. They reach out to him as he passes, their hands grasping at the air, but they vanish as soon as he tries to focus on them. The air is thick with the scent of decay, and Ray feels a growing sense of dread, as if something is watching him, waiting for the right moment to strike. The final straw comes when Ray's truck is suddenly engulfed in darkness. The headlights go out, the dashboard lights flicker and die, and the engine stalls, leaving him stranded in the middle of the highway with no light and no power. The air is heavy with the weight of the curse, and Ray can feel the malevolent presence closing in around him. In the silence, Ray hears a faint sound, footsteps approaching from the darkness. He grabs a flashlight from the glove compartment, but the beam is weak, barely cutting through the thick, oppressive night. The footsteps grow louder, closer, and Ray's heart pounds in his chest as he turns to face whatever is coming for him. Out of the darkness emerges a figure, a man dressed in the tattered uniform of a trucker, his face pale and ghostly. The man's eyes are filled with a deep, unending sorrow, and as he speaks, his voice is a whisper that carries the weight of countless souls lost to the highway's curse. He tells Ray that the road is a trap, a place where the living and the dead are forced to confront their pasts, their sins, and their regrets. The figure reveals that Ray has been chosen, that his final journey was never about retirement, but about reckoning. The highway demands a toll, and the only way to escape its grip is to confront the truth that Ray has been running from for so long. Ray is forced to confront his past, the choices he's made, and the regrets that have haunted him for years. The ghosts of Highway 66 are the souls of those who couldn't escape their own demons, and now Ray must decide whether he will succumb to the same fate or find a way to break free. With the ghostly figure as his guide, Ray retraces the steps of his life, his mistakes, his failures, and the moments of guilt that he's buried deep within himself. The highway warps around him, showing him visions of his past, forcing him to relive the moments that have defined him. As the night wears on, Ray begins to understand the true nature of the curse. It's not just the road that's cursed, but the people who travel it, those who carry the weight of their past with them, unable to let go. Ray realizes that the only way to escape is to make peace with his own life, to forgive himself for the things he cannot change, and to find the strength to move forward. In a final act of defiance, Ray confronts the darkness that has been chasing him, the shadows that have haunted his every mile. He embraces the truth of his life, accepting the mistakes he's made and the man he's become. The curse begins to lift, the darkness receding, and the highway ahead becomes clear once more. The truck's engine roars to life, the headlights flicker back on, and Ray is able to continue his journey. As the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, the ghosts of Highway 666 fade into the distance, leaving Ray alone on the road. The weight of the curse is gone, and Ray feels a sense of peace that he hasn't felt in years. The story ends with Ray reaching the end of Highway 666, the sun rising high in the sky. He pulls over to the side of the road, taking a moment to reflect on the journey he's just completed. He knows that he's faced the worst of himself and that he's come out the other side stronger. As he drives away, leaving the cursed highway behind, Ray looks forward to the new life that awaits him, free from the ghosts of his past.